I'm ready whenever you guys are.
We live, Red.
All right, welcome to another episode of Just Cooling Podcast. I am Country Red, and you are
DJ Quinn, what's going on?
not much, man. We have a special guest tonight. Tell everybody who you are and give everybody your resume, brother.
Yo, this Soulrac, born and raised in Orlando, Florida, representing hip hop from the East. You know what I'm saying? And just putting it down for the people. Keeping it conscious, but keeping it real.
That's just,
Really?
and you said you out of Orlando?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Uh, let everybody know about the nightclub. Let's get into
Which
that.
one?
The,
Which one? We got a whole bunch of them. You
I
talking about
think it's
Cleo?
called is it called Thirst Ultra?
Oh yeah, the nightclub I had,
Yeah.
which was in Tampa. Yeah, I had a
Okay.
club called Thirst Ultra Lounge, and basically it was like a lounge for people that was, as we say, grown folks or grown to sex, as we say in the South. And it was just a club where we had, that I was a co-owner of. I was fortunate to have Slick Rick there.
Okay.
We had, Biz Markie to come there and DJ. Had a chance to meet
Mm.
Donnell Jones, and it was just a great opportunity for me to learn, club management and be a promoter at the same time. So it was a great experience for me doing Thirst Ultra Lounge, which was based in Tampa.
Okay. So you got a new club you opening now in Orlando or?
I don't have anything right now, but that
Gotcha.
is in the works. That's something that I plan to do in the future. I would love to have like a multi-functional club where you have like comedy, hip hop and R&B, and then at the same time you can come and lounge for people that's our age. So that way they have a place to hang out and chill,
Okay.
get out the headache,
And let
put out
every
the headache. Yeah.
absolutely, and just let everybody
Uh-huh.
know how Orlando is, as far as
Okay.
the scene wise, and for people who haven't been down that way.
Yeah, sure. Orlando to me is like a melting pot because you got a good mixture of music. You think about it, when you think about music, most of the time people think of Florida, they think about bass music. They think about Luke Skywalker.
Mm.
They think
Yeah,
about, well, Luke now, but Luke, he used to be called Luke Skywalker. You think about Two Live Crew. You think
yeah,
about, some of the thug, type, or, oh yeah, some of the music like Trick Daddy and different ones like that. And then you also have Rick Ross. But there's a core group of hip hop artists
Mm.
because Orlando is unique because you have a lot of people that came from up north that lived here and their parents moved here, and then the kids came with the parents, of course. And those were the people I connected with, and that influenced my music palette, other than the music I heard growing up. So Orlando's a good melting pot because you got some serious hip hop artists here, but then you also have some artists that represent, that more got a southern flavor. Then you also got the bass, you got the drill, and so forth. So it's a great mixture of music. If you're open minded, you can find pretty much whatever you're looking for.
okay. So what,
Yeah.
what separates you as an artist from everybody you just mentioned, and who were some of your early influences also?
You
And
mean
what
from
separates you as an artist from everybody else? It could be Orlando or just overall in the whole music industry. What separates
well,
yourself from everyone else?
yeah, I mean, one of the ones who influenced me was is Eric B. and Rakim per se, because he was a
Mm.
lyricist. Big Daddy Kane, another lyricist. Slick Rick because he provided, he did hip hop in
Storytelling.
such a unique way by telling
Yeah.
stories. I was glad that I had the opportunity to meet him one time, and then also Public Enemy because he was had
Mm,
socially conscious or politically driven content,
Mm.
which is part of what my music is. So all of them influenced me and kind of shaped the type of artist I am today.
Okay.
dope.
Now, are you on an independent record label or what's
I am. I
okay?
got my own record label. It's
So,
called Enlightened Music Group.
all
We
right.
started in 2018, and we're actually an international company because we have a chapter out there in France that we have with some people. So we're looking to
Mm.
build that international base.
How is it working with people out in France? How does that work out?
Actually, it's working pretty good because I'm working right now as we speak with a DJ where he has something called a mixtape addict, DJ King Flow.
Okay.
He and I get ready to put out an EP that's going to be a collaboration with French artists. That's what I'm getting ready to record right now. So actually, you kind of on the cuff of the whole thing happening because I'm getting ready to drop 2 tracks tonight, and then I'm gonna send it to him, and we're gonna get some French artists to collab so that way we can create that dope EP for the French market, and really it's gonna be for everybody, but we're gonna really tap into that French market.
Are you thinking about going overseas, taking the album overseas when you go?
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of my focuses is to build that overseas market and connect to that overseas market. That's why everything I'm doing, whether it be the music I'm recording now, as well as the idea that I have, which is called Preserve the Culture. Basically, is about preserving the hip hop culture. And we were in the UK about 3 years ago at a place called the Chip Shop.
Mm.
I'm looking to return as the featured artist. Hopefully, I can get some of the ones I did collabs with to be there with me, and that way we can build that international brand and build and connect to that international market.
One more question, Red, before you
Sure.
ask your question. Um, how hard is it to go overseas for those who, who want to go overseas and try to, because I know it's totally different money over there. Like
Yeah.
they love hip
Yeah.
hop, but could you,
Yeah.
explain a little bit how easy or how hard it is to go overseas to do music?
I think I think like they say, your net worth is your network is your net worth. It's all about networking. I everything I built was through networking. I just met someone. They was we connected. They liked the music. They supported me and just kept building from there. You gotta, as an artist, you gotta be willing to invest your money into what your product, and you also got to be willing to invest in people.
Mm.
And if those two things work, it can create opportunities for you. Because I didn't know anybody from overseas. I met one person who was my friend Issa, and from there the floodgates opened up, and I just started connecting with people, and then just started working and building that relationship over a period of 2 years. And now those doors are even larger now because of just constantly networking and connect and creating those connections.
Okay, what's it like working with the producer Big Bob? I noticed you guys have a lot of songs together. So what's it
Yeah,
like? What's the chemistry like with him?
it's dope. I mean, one thing I like about Big Bob, he's very open minded and give you creative freedom. There are some producers that kind of want to take over the whole story and don't let you have your expressions or let you be free. And so he gave me that. Like he'll give me a beat, and then he'll be like, okay, here go a beat, and I'll be like, okay, well let's approach it from this perspective. And then we both shared our ideas. We both fed each other. It wasn't singular. It wasn't one person dictating everything. It was a group. It was a collaborated effort. And so that's why we was able to produce those or create those gems that you hear.
Can you
Man,
talk a little bit about Belly of the Beast? You sing
Oh, I love talking about Belly of the Beast. But because it deals with
come
a
on
very
with it.
serious subject. But yeah, I mean, one of the things I love Belly of the Beast, and I'll tell you how it came together since you mentioned Big Bob to tie it all in. Big Bob gave me the beat, and originally it was a song about, it had Malcolm X in there who was going to take a different approach.
Mm.
But then I was like, hey, let's deal with mass incarceration because I like to touch subject matters that people don't talk about or that need to be talked about. And so
Right.
we decided to go that direction. And then he brought to my attention Craig G, and then my man VVS Verbal, who I now have relationships with. And I just say, hey, let's all do this song together. And so they wrote their parts, I wrote mine, and we put the song together. But the purpose of Belly of the Beast is to highlight how corporations are benefiting or profiting from the sufferings of others.
Mm.
And it's to bring attention to an issue that's been swept under the rug for years because so many families have been decimated due to mass incarceration. And so we need to do something about it. And as an artist, one of the greatest contributions I can make is make a song about it and bring more attention to it.
Facts. Facts.
Okay, so you kind of answered that question, but I'm gonna ask it to you a different way. So how can we
Sure.
fix the incarceration with Black and Brown communities? How can we fix that, tackle that? What would you suggest?
I think one of the biggest things we have to do is that we have to do what we can to change the laws, and vote people
Okay.
in that can push through the laws that will benefit us. We have to stop letting people who come in who only want the black vote when it's election time, but when they get in office, they forget about us. So we have
Mm.
to change. We have to change the political environment. One of the other things we have to do is bring more awareness to it. I mean, you think about the campaign in the '80s where they say this is your mind on drugs. I still remember it because it had a
Yeah,
great
I remember that.
narrative.
Yeah, yeah.
It was a great narrative and it stuck in your mind and you couldn't get it out of your mind. It's 20, 30 years later, I still remember the slogan. So if we do the same thing with mass incarceration and bring more attention to it and get people to see the error and how wrong it is, then we can bring attention to it. I mean, we saw an example of that with George Floyd. I mean, we saw
Facts.
how Black Lives Matter has become a global phenomenon, even though it started in 2012 with the death of Trayvon Martin. but I think it really reached a higher pinnacle with George Floyd. God bless him and his family. But you see how it became. Yeah, you got white kids marching, Asian kids marching, saying Black Lives Matter. So
Facts.
if that can happen with Black Lives Matter, imagine what we can do with mass incarceration if we get people to buy in.
Facts. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's definitely true. I'm gonna
Yeah,
switch it up a little. Give us your
let's do
five.
it.
Give us five top songs that impact your life from artists.
Oh man, I mean, fight the power, the
Mm.
symphony,
Mm.
with classic. Um,
For those who don't know, let them know who's on the symphony.
we got Craig G, which is one of the ones that I'm working with. Master Ace, another one I'm working with right now.
Mm.
Cool G Rap, and Big Daddy Kane.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So you got all four of them on there.
Facts.
Eric B. I ain't no joke is one.
Mm.
Run DMC, Sucker MCs.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? And I'll say Tupac, Dear Mama, because that kind of made me learn to respect my mom even more so than I do now. So, I think that was a very iconic song, and and I feel it's life changing. I think it made people recognize that your mom might be a person that's troubled, but you still can love her no matter what. So I think he did a great job with that song. And rest in power, Tupac.
Yeah, we had somebody on here. That's been the second song or the second time somebody said "Dear Mama" on that. So
Okay. Yeah.
absolutely, it was.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
we just
impressive.
gotta give flowers to our hip hop icons, man. Too many of them dying without being the love they need.
Man,
You know what I'm saying? So I want to always recognize whoever I can from the golden era or hip hop in general.
facts.
Yeah.
I got one. So, name a hip hop group or artist from the golden era that you would like to see perform live, that you haven't seen perform live,
That never performed live.
that you never seen perform live. Like, who would you want to
Oh,
see from the golden era?
I love to see Redman and Method Man perform live. I know they had the verses, but I want to be there. I like to be there to
Yeah.
see it. Onyx is another one. I know you said one, but Onyx is another one because
Oh,
they got that energy.
go ahead.
You know.
Yeah, let them know me and Red actually seen Redman and Method Man live in Colorado. Man,
Oh, that's dope.
that concert was a man. We was leaving and they still was on stage.
Yeah, them guys serious, man.
Yeah,
Them guys serious. They make you hungry about the culture.
They do. They do. Man, yeah, I remember that, man. It was crazy. I think I saw Street Life selling merch when we was walking
Yeah,
in. He
yeah,
was at the table selling the merch and everything. Like everybody was working. Everybody was a team, So yeah, I definitely remember that.
yeah.
Uh,
which you
think
watch?
you go ahead.
Go ahead, Red.
No, you gotta go ahead.
I was gonna ask him. Is it on this topic? I was gonna switch it up a little bit.
No, you can switch it up.
All right. Do you watch sports? We gonna get into the sports.
Yeah, I watch sports.
What you think about the playoffs? Well, first of all, what you think about the play-in game? What do you think? You think
The
they
who?
should the play-in game for the NBA? You think they should keep doing that?
I think they should. I don't see nothing wrong with it.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't see nothing wrong with it.
I think it actually gives the lower seeds a chance, like college,
Yeah,
to try to climb, because you never know. Any day somebody can be beat.
yeah, yeah. I
Um,
really like the NBA. One thing I like about the NBA, and it might be a little bit off topic. I like what they really did to try to highlight, Black Lives Matter, some of the social
mm,
things that was going on. That's what I really liked about the NBA. I got much respect for them. I'm really into football more than I am basketball, but I respect the fact that the NBA came on a whole lot faster than the NFL as far as addressing these issues that we're dealing with.
well, I'm gonna take it since you took it there. I'm gonna take it here. Since
Okay.
since Tebow got a chance, don't you think Colin Kaepernick should get one?
Absolutely. I don't even think Tebow should even be back. I don't even think Tebow should be back. I mean, what did he do other than pray on his knees? You know what I'm saying? I mean, he,
Yeah.
he did one good year. That's all he did, and we ain't seen nothing after that. So, in my opinion, I don't know what value he brings to a team other than the fact that he could pray. But you know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
mean, we need, it ain't against what his religious beliefs is. I
Right.
respect every religion,
All
but
right.
at the end of the day, it's about bringing value, and he don't bring any to me. And I felt like Colin, Cap brought value, and he brought a message. You
Yeah.
know,
And they didn't, and nobody gave him a chance like they did Tebow, man. And I think
no,
that's crazy. How you? I mean, that's plain as
Who
day how it works.
he playing tight end, right? He playing tight end for Jacksonville or something like
Huh?
that. I think it made the spot. I said, is he playing for Jacksonville as a tight end?
Who?
Tebow?
He
T-
needs to
uh,
be.
yeah, I
I don't
think
know
they
what he
picked him
playing.
up.
I don't
No,
know
he
what he
playing
playing.
tight end.
Well, he don't need to play at all, in my opinion. But they
They
need to
picked him
make him
up.
the water boy. Tebow the water boy. He can stay on the sideline, make sure everybody stay hydrated.
uh, yeah, that's just crazy, man. How Tebow
Yeah.
got picked up, and everybody just dismissed Cap. So you know what I'm
Well,
saying?
you know why they diss Cap? They diss Cap because Cap is too controversial,
Mm,
and there are a lot of people who are customers that don't like Cap because they feel like he disrespected the flag. So as long as that become an issue, because at the end of the day, we all know everything's about the bottom line. It's about advertisers because advertisers they the ones that put money into the football games, even though they get money from the fans, but they want to make the advertisers happy. And if the fans ain't happy, they're not watching the show, the advertisers don't see value by advertisement. So that's what it's all about. It's about that bottom line. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah, yeah.
Really what it is. Because I guarantee you, if Tebow did it, well, we know it's a color thing too, but I guarantee you, let's not overlook that. Now we
Right,
got to deal with it
right,
all
right.
because we on the show, we on the Just Cooling podcast, so we tell the truth here. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
that's what it is, bro. So what at the end of the day, it's about color and it's about the bottom line. That's what it's about.
Mm, facts.
Have it. And there was.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I wanted to talk to you about two singles, the blackface one and then the
Hmm.
culture. What was the thought
Okay.
process behind that? Those two singles also. If you could elaborate on those.
Yeah, I mean, blackface basically is, in a way self-explanatory because it's dealing with a evil practice that's been going over for 200 years, where they would burn corkscrews or they would put grease paint on their face, and basically to blacken their skin, and speak in a demeaning manner, so they could demean Africans who were enslaved, and then eventually, the black culture as a whole, where they did it in a demeaning manner. It wasn't to embrace the black culture; it was to degrade the black culture. And then we saw what happened with Justin Trudeau and Prime Minister of Canada. We saw what happened
Mm,
with the governor of Virginia. We see what happened in the Netherlands, where they have a festival where people are wearing blackface. And so I be again, I like to deal with controversial issues. I'm like, okay, well, hey, you want to do it? I'm gonna talk about it. And so I felt that
Yeah.
was the best song to do it.
mm,
You know, yeah. And so the way I did blackface, I did it in three ways. I did it. The first verse is about explaining what it is for those who are not initiated to it. Second verse is more political, and the third verse is more giving you the historical content of blackface. And that's how the song was written for that purpose.
I like you broke that down too. A
Yeah,
lot of people and they might miss that part of how you broke the song down. So I'm glad that you did break it down and explain it to everybody else that's checking in on it. What about the caught you slipping?
yeah.
Uh,
Culture slipping was more or less like, there's so much misogyny in hip hop, and it's not all the men either, because some of them women live up to those ideas. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't mind calling me. I don't know if I can curse, but I
yeah,
feel I can.
yeah.
Women, I try to make sure I ask first
Absolutely.
instead of just
you
going
say
at it.
that?
But women, they starting to allow themselves to be called a bitch and call themselves a hoe. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? That's what's happening. So they're accepting that title, and so what I'm saying is, I'm like trying to be a counter message. It's like, hey, you can be more than that. I mean, if you want to be called that, you be called what you want. But don't say, if a guy call you a bitch in the club and you dancing to them songs, then you can't get mad because you subscribe to that word. So I'm not saying that you should say it, you should or shouldn't say it. All I'm saying is that as a woman or a man, you can live up to your ideal self. You don't have to succumb to stereotypes, characters or whatsoever. You can be better than that. You know what I'm saying? You owe yourself that.
facts.
Yeah.
Um, do you do with it? Talk about a little bit. Spoken word. Do you still do spoken word?
Yeah, I still write. I haven't performed any spoken word live because I've been really just going in the booth and doing my music. But I do have some poems that I have written. One called "Cry Freedom," and basically it's about our struggle from the time that we got off the ship to the time that we became free. And I'm
Ooh,
more than glad to give it to you guys if you want to post it or whatever. But it's called "Cry Freedom," and that's basically what it's about. It's dealing with that struggle, dealing with the Underground Railroad and the things we went through just to get our freedom. even though at the end it doesn't show that we are free. It just shows what it talks about the idea of freedom.
I'm sure you got it memorized, don't you?
I wish I did have it
Wow. Okay.
memorized. I ain't gonna lie to you.
I was gonna say, kick me a couple of verses of it.
Man, if I had it down, I would definitely kick it for you, but I don't. But if you want me to come back one day and do it, I'll be glad to do it. No
Absolutely.
doubt.
And look,
Absolutely.
real quick, as far as the spoken word scene out there in Orlando, is there a scene out there in Orlando for that type of?
To be quite honest, I'm not really sure because I really haven't tried to do it. I
Gotcha.
know that they had one in Tampa. It was called Black on Black Rhyme. I believe that's the name of it.
Okay.
And they used to be a group of people. They would travel throughout Florida, and they were dope. I never joined it because at that time I wasn't really doing music. I was more promoting, trying to own my club and
Gotcha.
run the club rather. And so I wasn't really doing anything, but it was dope. You know what I'm saying? I had came in contact with a few of them because I used to do comedy shows, and you have a featured artist on there that did spoken word.
Let's speak about that a little bit. You go into the
Yeah,
how was the comedy scene out there?
it's dope. I mean, it's dope. I mean, you got more, you got the improv, the Tampa Improv, Orlando Improv. You got different comedy clubs, but one of the things that's challenging for everybody now with COVID, so really don't know what it's like now until we kind of get past that. But there's been a lot of big shows that came down here. I had a lot of shows where I came in contact with some big name comedians like Ricky Smiley.
Mm.
I came in
Wow.
contact with Arnez J. I don't know if you remember Tyler Craig one time. He and I had smoked out one time when we did a show in Kentucky.
Okay.
So yeah. But so I came across a lot of different comedians, and I really love doing it. But now it's just all about the music right now.
Was there a lot of local comedians that came through there as well?
Yeah, you got some, but they didn't really make it as big. I mean, they've been on BET Comic View, and some of them made it to Def Comedy Jam, but they never made it, in my opinion, on the national stage. I gave them an opportunity with my shows, but at the end of the day, it's all about the bottom line. You got to get the ones who are gonna bring the people out. So that's what I try to do. Yeah.
So I guess we're gonna go ahead and jump into the Who You Got segment. This is where you
Okay.
choose one artist or person and you tell us why.
Okay.
So Who You Got segment. Chuck D or KRS-One?
Mm.
Ooh.
Who you,
Oh, that's a
who you
tight
got?
one.
Who you
So I got to go with Chuck, man. I got to go with Chuck on that one.
Mm.
Now, as far as rhyming goes, I think KRS-One, he always gonna be the constant battler. You can't. He represent hip
got?
hop culture to the most. But because I'm more conscious leaning with my lyrics, I would choose Chuck D because I feel like Chuck D was bold with his music because he touched subjects that nobody was really touching in the '80s of all places,
True.
and continue to stick to that. So I respect him a great deal, even though I respect KRS-One. It's a tie, but I'll say if I was able to give an inch, it'd be Chuck D. Definitely Chuck D.
Okay.
It,
That was a hard one to choose, man.
Yeah, it was absolutely.
is there a lot of police brutality out there in Tampa?
Yeah, I think anywhere you go, you deal with it to a
True.
certain point.
True.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it definitely is. I remember, I was talking with someone years ago, and I remember as a youth running downtown Orlando with my friends with just a small pack, and we had cops had us lay on the ground at gunpoint. You know what I'm saying? And that was just what it was. And you get so used to it, you kind of see it like a part of your life. Because one thing, and you guys are from Colorado, right? That's where you're at.
No.
I'm from Tulsa, Oklahoma. He's from
Okay,
Arizona.
all right.
Yeah.
So you familiar with how the South kind of roll a little bit, basically. I'm
Yeah,
sure you guys
we
kind
are.
of know how it go. So yeah, so we're
Yeah.
here. It's a lot of things that happen here that you don't. I feel is different elsewhere. So you got a lot of. I feel like the racism is a little more stronger here because you got to think about it. You know who our governor is, Ron DeSantis, of all people, and this is where Trump resides. So that should tell you something right there.
Right.
Those two things alone should tell you how bad it is here. You know what I'm saying? That's the way it is, man.
Hey, they still counting the votes. He said he declaring president by August. He said he gonna.
Well, he can keep counting them all he wants. They ain't gonna change to him. He can live in an alternate reality. You know what I'm saying? He might as well get on that spaceship and go to Mars too while he thinks about it. Do us a favor, get on that spaceship.
Take the SpaceX.
Don't let me get on Trump. We'll be here all day. We might have another section.
He gonna miss the studio session. He'd be like,
Yeah,
hey.
no, it's all good. It's all good, man.
So if you could say anything to the youth now, what would you tell them right now?
I think the thing I would tell you more than anything, know who you are, know your value. You know what I'm saying? Don't let nobody create your value for you. You create your own value, and when you create your value, know your value. That way, you're not lured into the street life. That way, you're not lured into all the nonsense that's out there to grab you and prevent you from living a long life. You know, I'm fortunate to have a father and a son, and one of the songs you haven't heard yet is called His Story, and it's my story to my son, telling him, hey, you don't have to walk in my shoes because I already been through it for you. You have a choice. You can make different choices than I did.
Facts. Facts.
Yeah.
Talk about your name. How did that become? What's it? What's the meaning of it?
Sure. Okay. Well, Soulrac is basically my first name backwards, which is Carlos, Carlos. You
Okay.
flip it backwards, you add the U, so it spells Soulrac, and then emphasize the word soul because I want my music to be music for the soul. I want it to touch people.
Facts.
Um,
No doubt.
Already. So, how do you feel about the new generation as far as hip hop and the music and the creativity? I mean, how do you feel about that? Where do you think it's going? What could they be doing better?
Yeah, I think they could definitely do better. I think substance is missing in some of the music.
Mm.
Because one thing I learned is that we don't have to dumb down hip hop because there's so much to talk about in the world. You know, I feel like artists do a disservice to themselves when they only talk about how much money they can throw in a woman's ass or how many clubs they got and how much cars they have and all of that.
Right.
And some of them don't even have none of that. And then how many gangsters we got? Everybody ain't a gangster. I mean, if you're doing all the stuff you're doing, you I'm surprised you ain't locked up unless you're in the mafia or something.
Right.
But you know what I'm saying? So I ain't knocking nobody. Do what you do, but let's just be real to the music, and then the music can be real to you. That's all I'm saying.
Mm. And
I
that's
know I rubbed some people the wrong way, but I don't give a care. That's why I'm soul rap. You know what I'm saying?
Tell them, say it with your chest out.
Yeah, I say it with my chest. I say it with everything in me, man.
um
Yes, sir.
give the youth or whoever's listening 5 tips on how to multitask in the music industry.
Well, the first thing you want to do, if you want to, well, I'll just say 5 things they can do in the industry. Um, One is that they can build a team of people that will support you no matter what. You know, not people that's going to get around you just because you're popular, fame, or you got money. You want them to believe in you and believe in what you can do, and that's what you want to build. Number two, you want to make sure that your music reflects who you are, because at the end of the day, we live in the internet age. Whatever you put on the internet usually stay on the internet. So you want to have music that's going to reflect who you are. Number three, Number three, invest in your music and invest in yourself.
Mm.
Don't be like some of these guys that tell me
Back
independent
again.
artists so I got to invest nothing. Invest in your music and invest in yourself. Number four, respect the hip hop culture. Learn
Mm.
the history, and that way you can be able to know what you come from, because we come from a rich history, and it's good for you to know the culture. And number five, I'll use something that Chuck D said with me: don't just focus on the 48 states. The world is bigger than the 48 states. Network and build
Mm.
relationships with people from other countries,
Mm.
because it's going to do a lot of good.
Facts. Facts. Because and like we had talked earlier, overseas they still love hip hop.
Oh yeah, yeah,
They still buying
absolutely.
records and all of that. So it's totally different than it is in America for sure.
Yeah, it is absolutely. And they doing things that we're not even doing as much, like beatboxing, breakdancing.
Mm.
They're doing all of that. It's popular over there. They got the Red Bull thing every year where they have breakdancing competition. So they really into all the elements. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of us, not saying it don't happen here, but a lot of us just focus on the MC and the DJing, but they kind of tapping into all four. You know what I'm saying? And even with the
Elements.
graffiti, I see people still doing graffiti here, but it's really big over there.
Facts.
Yeah.
Happened to America. So, how important is it to have a mentor in this music business, or just even in life? Like, it doesn't even have to be in music. How important is it just to have a mentor?
I
How
think
do you
it's
feel
good.
about that?
I think it's good to have a mentor in music, a mentor in life, because a lot of times, especially in our community, we grow up sometimes without both parents in the home, and so Your mom is either your dad and your mom, or you got your dad being your mom and your dad. So you kind of miss that element. And some of those who are fortunate, it's good that they have both parents. So with that being said, it's good to have a mentor because you can have someone that can groom you and prevent you from making mistakes that you will have to learn on your own because you don't have someone to guide you. As far as music, the same principle applies. It's good to have someone who's where you're trying to go because they can tell you, hey, don't go that way. Don't trust this person. Don't do this. Don't do that. And that way that way you don't have to make the same mistakes other people are making. And so I think that's very important when you're doing music is having the right people around you who can guide you in the right direction.
Um, question for you: how true is it? We heard that you was a battle rapper first.
Uh-huh.
Wait,
Yeah.
wait. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, when I was in school, that's how I started out. We used to
Okay.
battle after school. I battled during lunch. I don't do it anymore. I leave that to the other guys now. But back in the day, that's how it started. Like we were freestyle. Like we did real freestyle where it came from your dome. You ain't have to try to think. You ain't write it down and then say you're freestyler. You would actually go ahead and go in and get it done. I mean, excuse me. You would go in. You'll go in and just go at the top of your dome,
Yeah.
and everybody would spit. And then we would battle kids in school. Me and my friend would battle everybody. We were like, all right, let's go. So we'd go to lunch. And I was in middle school at that time, going in and then high school. We would battle whoever it was. Hey, you ready to go? Let's go. We'd battle. We'd spit rhyme for rhyme. Whoever was the best, or whoever was left standing, basically. But yeah, that's how I started out in the hip hop game. So that's why when it comes to people saying they freestyling, I'm like, okay, well, let me hear you say something from the dome.
Right.
Know what I mean? That's what
All
it
right.
is.
What you
Yeah.
what do you think about URL? Do you watch any of that?
URL? No,
Yeah.
I don't. I don't. I don't. But I got a friend who does promote battle rapping. That's what he does.
Okay.
He promotes BVS Verbal actually. That's what he does. He got some things that's popping up right now as we speak that he does with battle rapping.
Okay. Is that out there in Tampa or is that?
Now he's in New York. That's
Gotcha.
where he's doing things
Okay.
in New York.
Okay.
Hmm. Yeah.
Is there a battles rap scene out there in Tampa or Orlando? Period. I'm sure it is.
Not that not that I'm aware of. At one time when I had the club,
Okay.
let me see if I can get you guys better here. At one time when I had the club, I'm gonna move around a little bit so
Yeah.
you
Do
can
your
have more
thing.
It's
light.
okay.
Yeah, you good.
At one time when I had the club, there was battle rapping, but the problem was that it wasn't something that was consistent. So nowadays it's happening, but it's like within a select group of people. So it's not as I would say like my man BBS Burger doing it, where it's more not people are more knowledgeable about it. It's only people that's in that circle that really know. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not really being promoted as much. But I used to have some battle rap league that was going on. It was
Mm,
kind of dope. I just never really at the time I was running the club, so I wasn't trying to do that. I was trying to make my money, trying to flip my business. So that's what
absolutely.
I was focused. Yep.
So if you wasn't creating music, what would you be doing?
I probably would do promoting. I'd probably be doing comedy shows, and looking at trying to get another club started. If not that, I would probably be doing poetry and spoken word, writing books and stuff like that. Maybe lecturing, something in that field.
Mm. What as far as
Uh,
lecturing you? Go ahead, Brad.
you gotta go ahead and go with the lecture question. I'm looking at my notes.
Well, no, I was saying as far as lecturing, have you ever thought about teaching or becoming a teacher?
Well, I'm talking with a guy from Atlanta named Brother Say, and he
Mm.
wants to do like a college tour, and we're going to deal with, the subject matter of white supremacy, and I'm going to address the issue of police brutality and also perform too. So we're in the talks of doing that now. We just have to put everything together, but that's something that's soon to happen.
Mm. Okay. I think that'll be great for the world. Period. We need stuff like that. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the ideas behind preserve the culture was that I was looking to make it a event that can be held at colleges and also where you can have an educational component too.
Okay.
So that's part of the long term vision for preserving the culture.
Okay, where do you see? You said long term, so is that
Hmm.
you think that's like 5 or 10 years down the line that you add some more stuff
Yeah,
along with that on the
yeah,
way, kind of build up the platform up a little bit, I guess? Or
yeah. I want to. You said it perfectly. I want to build a platform
okay,
up where it's a brand that people can get behind, and eventually you can start making it where you can go to colleges and teach about the hip hop culture, and also provide workshops and things of that nature. I already got the PowerPoint written up. It's just all about building the brand that people will invest in and get behind it financially before it get to that, make that step.
Gotcha.
Dope. It's gonna happen.
Oh
You
yeah.
guys speak it into existence. It'll happen.
Oh yeah, you got to, bro. You got to speak it in existence. You got to put action behind the words.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
You got to do that for sure.
Yep.
All right. So I'm gonna go on. I'm gonna ask another producer question. So if you had a chance to work with any producer that you could or would want to work with, who would it be? If
Marco
you get
Polo.
into
Oh my
Mark
bad. I
Polo.
thought you was done. My bad.
No. Let's talk about
No,
that.
that's yeah.
Marco's cold. I like Marco, man. He got some hits.
Yeah, I agree with you. The reason I chose Marco, of course, Primo. I mean, you know, who wouldn't want to work with Primo? But I want to name
Right.
somebody most people not naming nowadays. But that's why I said Marco Polo.
Okay.
But I like what he did with the Master Ace project. I think he kind of took Master Ace to another level with
He
with
did.
giving him exposure because you know there are certain producers that just fit like hand in glove. I call him my Eric B because I feel like Eric B and Rakim was a good team, even though you know we can debate about the music as far as the quality of it, but at the end of the day, they fit one another. They was perfect. When you think about Rakim, you think about Eric B, vice versa.
Right.
So I feel like Marco Polo did for Master Ace basically what Eric B did with Rakim. You know, I kind of feel like he
Mhm.
made that impact, and I feel like he's one of those type of producers, and that's what you want when you're in the booth. You want somebody that can take your ideas and take it to the next level. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna throw a cheap one in here. Who you
All
got?
right.
Marco Polo or Alchemist?
Oh man.
That
Oh,
ain't right, man.
well, you gave me two hard ones tonight. You said Chuck D and Kara's one. Now you hit me with two hard ones for the producer.
That ain't right.
I still go with Marco Polo because I feel like he's still fresh
Right.
and he's probably a little more adaptable. Because sometimes when people have been established for a while, they kind of got a certain formula and they may not be able to break out of that mold. I feel like Marco Polo may do that. Even though he's been around for a minute, I feel like he still got that newness on him that he's willing to take more risks. Like he's willing to break out of that box. I feel like that would be the better situation for me as an artist.
Okay. Let's talk about the album a little bit. As far as the singles coming out, or the
Mm,
dropping the whole album, the EP.
yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna bring out Soul Ploitation, which is basically a play on my name in Black Ploitation, which means exposing my soul. That's basically what Soul Ploitation means. And what I'm gonna do something a little different because instead of just making it available where you can download it digitally, I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna just go ahead and put out a special collector's edition where it's gonna be on CD only,
Mm.
and I'm gonna have an artist by the name of David Barnes who produced artwork for Wu Tang affiliates. He's
Okay.
gonna do the artwork for the EP, and then I'm gonna put it out and have it a special collector's item for those who want it, and that way they can buy it that way, and that way it can bring more, and that way it can be more valuable to people over time.
Will you be
That's what
pressing any wax?
I'm looking at doing that, but wax is expensive,
Is it
man. I mean, you got to
okay?
spend bread to do wax, and that turner, and you want to make a profit for
Facts.
whatever you invest in. Because I've been looking at wax, but the producer I'm working with now, he got some DJ Merciless, who's a part of the Moon Crickets. He he got some music on wax, so I'm gonna talk to him when we finish this project and see if we can put the EP I'm doing now on wax. So that's definitely down the pipe. I just don't know if it's gonna be something I'll do for Soul Ploitation at this point.
We got a release date on it. The project.
I don't have one yet because I'm still waiting on the artwork to be finalized. But
Gotcha.
once it is, I'm gonna let everybody know that way they can copy.
Okay.
Okay. Hmm. So if you were in a position to be a government mayor, you might already answer this. So how would you improve the social injustice? That could be from education to poverty, racial discrimination, economics, so forth and so forth.
Well,
You
first
was
of
putting
all,
that position.
the first thing you got to do, and I think this is where a lot of politicians get it wrong, they don't have the right people at the table. They only listen to people who are lobbying and putting money in their pocket. You got to have the right people at the table
Mm.
who are in touch with the issues that are affecting the communities. So you want to have those people in place. You want to have those conversations so that way you can put legislation together that can work in that capacity. The other thing you want to do, like we talked about before, with the just say no campaign, you want to have communication where people can get behind the vision, get behind the idea, get behind the legislation. That way it can get passed. Because as you and I both know, if we look at the Senate and we look at the Congress, a lot of things get stuck because people play politics and they don't really care about pushing legislation through. All they care about is pleasing their base. So we got to get people in power who can push the legislation through. That way we can get something done.
Facts.
Oh,
What you
you got another?
what do you
Go
think
ahead.
about doing another self-destruction album? You think we need that right now?
Absolutely.
Mm.
We need to do that, and we need to do three self-destruction albums.
Mm.
Yeah,
See,
I think it's long overdue. Um, we need to do a Trump album too, but we'll talk about it another time. You definitely need to do a self-destruction album and many other subject matters that need to be addressed.
mm.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know about the self-destruction album, so
No, they don't. And it came out, I think, in '88, if my
Was that
memory is
was
right.
that about 88?
I think it was '88 that came
Yeah.
out. And KRS One was the think tank behind that. He put all the artists on there. It was a classic, just like the symphony.
Yeah. Oh man,
Yeah.
the symphony was a classic as well. And you know what? We
Absolutely.
don't have albums like that no more, man.
No, we don't.
We
We
need
don't.
we need those. Those is to
We
balance it
do.
out.
We do. And that's why it's important what you guys are doing because you're giving voice to artists like myself who's trying to go against the grain, and that way we can be heard. Because a lot of times we don't get the major radio shows. They don't put us on there. They don't play our music. We only get exposure when people like yourself use your platform. That way we can be seen and heard.
Right.
Appreciate that. We in the same
True.
boat too. We try and
It's
get out the
true.
mud too.
Yeah.
So
That's why, as artists, we need to support what you guys are doing, so that way we can make sure you're getting what you need. That way we can continue to get what we need. We need to do that. We got to get behind you guys, man. Not just get on the show and then we done with you and wipe our hands. We need to support y'all day in and day out, bro. Real talk.
Jay
appreciate
Waiter
that.
says salute.
Oh yeah, that's my
He
dude.
in the
Yeah.
live chat. He in the live chat.
All right, that's what it is, bro. That's what it is. Yeah, man. We got a hot track coming for you, man. Better Days, inspirational track, man. He laid some vocals on there. It's gonna be dope.
When y'all gonna drop that?
We still got to get it mixed and mastered, but once it's mixed and mastered, it's gonna be ready to go. Yeah, it's gonna be ready to go. It's fire though, man. It's fire. And check out his new EP too. He got a like traditional. I gotta plug my man. If you like
Go
traditional
ahead.
R&B, you gotta get that new Jay Waiters out EP or album. You gotta get it.
Facts.
Say it one more time. Say it one more time,
If you
brother.
love, if you love the, I'm gonna do it like I'm in a commercial. If you like the old school, grown and sexy R&B, the kind we grew up in, the one your mama and your daddy used to listen to, you need to go ahead and cop that Jay Waiters album right now. It's on iTunes. Get it.
Facts.
Don't waste
Get
no
your,
time.
get your glass of cognac with that.
Get that cognac and get you some of that Moscato or whatever you need to set the mood right. Put some candle lights on, whatever you got to do, and burn some incense, and you're good to go.
Facts. Facts.
All right. So how can everybody reach you?
They can reach me
Everybody.
easily. All they got to do is go to. Oh my bad. All they got to do is go to Soulrac Music. It's SOULRAC Music, and you can find me on any social media platform.
And I got one last question for you. Do you think?
Okay.
Do you think we as will ever get reparations?
Huh? Say it again.
As us as blacks, do you ever think we will get reparations?
I mean, with the people that's in office now, I don't see it happening. We need to get them out and get people that can get behind it. But do I think it's due? It's long overdue. It's long overdue.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, this country have made millions, possibly billions of dollars off of us, especially in the southern region, and they have benefited and we have not. And so we need to even the playing field, and that's one of the ways to do it. There are many other areas we need to tackle, but that's one way you can start righting the ship. You know what I'm saying, and make things come into where they need to be. Because my family shouldn't struggle if you benefited from my ancestors. We should be able to get some dividends from that. You know what I'm saying? It's long overdue.
And they're getting a lot of money off of just hip hop, period.
Well, yeah, they are. They are. I mean, what we see today with hip hop is nothing different than what we saw in the 20s and the 30s, where they had blues and jazz, how they took the blues and jazz and they made money off of it, but the artists died penniless. we see it happen in the hip hop today with streaming and so many other different things. And that's why we got to even the playing field. That's why I said earlier we got to support platforms like you guys because we got to continue to let people see us and hear us and support other artists. And that way we can win. Because as long as we worry about I got 1 million streams today and we ain't making no dollars off them streams, we're not really getting anywhere. At the end of the day, all of us as artists, if we're honest to ourselves, we want to live off the music. That's why we do it. We do it because we love it, but you don't want to go to a 9 to 5. You want to do this 24/7.
Right.
And the best way to do it is people to buy your music. So we got to create opportunities to do that.
Facts. And one more question, as far as when you say buy the music, do you think artists should be given, extra stuff when their music is purchased? Like T-shirts, documentary, anything.
I think if you want to whet people's appetite, let me say it this way. I feel the market is oversaturated. And so in order for you to kind of get an edge, you have to create things that make you stand out from everybody else. That's the reason why I'm doing the CD, doing it exclusively, because that's going to give me a chance to stand out. And so, yes, I believe you should give something extra just to entice people. But, if you can afford to do it, not everybody can afford it. I mean, just like everybody can't do vinyl because it's expensive. But if you can afford to do it, give them a sticker or give them something that they can remember you by. So that way next time you drop another single or EP, do it. That's how I see it.
All right. So at the end of every show, I like to leave a closing quote. Feel free to chime in. If not, we'll go from there.
Well, no, he got to chime in on this one, just on the simple fact who it's from.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, so I'll say the name between. So knowledge, wisdom, and understanding don't come out the microwave. You got to keep moving forward because the evil doesn't sleep. I'm going to say it again. Knowledge, wisdom, and understanding don't come out the microwave. You got to keep moving forward because the evil doesn't sleep, by Chuck D.
Okay.
What you think about that?
I think it's true. I think we got to keep moving, and I think we got to continue to grow in knowledge and continue to grow in experience and pass it along to the next generation. That's what I'm doing with my music, and you guys are doing it through your platform. We got to continue to build as we grow.
Right. Absolutely, man. Well, hey, let everybody know one more time where they can find you at before we get out.
Well, they can find me. They can find Soulrac on any streaming platform. Just look for my music. Just go for Soulrac Music or Soulrac, and then just at Soulrac Music on social media, you'll find me. You know what I'm saying? Anybody want to do collabs or features, reach out to me. We'll make it happen.
Salute.
All right. I think that's a wrap.
All right, brother. Well, we appreciate you coming by, man. Salute to you.
Oh, salute, man. It was a pleasure. Enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Likewise.
And
all right, looking forward to working with you guys in the future, man.
Yeah, we looking forward for them albums and them singles as well, brother.
All right, we're gonna drop them. When I drop them, I'll hit you up.
Absolutely.
All
right.
right.
Salute, brother.
One love, man.
Salute. One love.